All right, what's up, guys? We are back with another podcast episode. Sorry that we missed last week. As you'll see, we had a super hectic time in Austin, and we left Monday morning, so we weren't able to get a podcast out. But you'll have plenty of stuff to listen to this week because a lot happened while we were in Austin. So we'll be recapping, well, we won't really be recapping the Adidas event because of NDAs, but we'll be talking about a lot of stuff from Austin. We did a host versus co-host podcast battle. That'll be some fun content. We had some tournaments, and then we've got some paddles and other stuff to recap. So I think this week is going to be a pretty fun podcast.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one.
All right, so we'll get this out of the way. Like I said, can't really talk much about the Adidas event because of NDAs. So you're not going to hear much about that probably from any podcast. I think the NDA doesn't lift until maybe the 18th, and then maybe you'll start hearing some stuff about the paddles. But we did get to have the event part of it at the lab in Austin, which is owned by Ryan DeWidgeon and I believe Carlos. And it was fun to finally see that. You see it in all the content online. It's a very cool place. I would love one day to have something like that. Like it's like the perfect content machine to have something like that.
Great facility to have. A single court, a lot of space for cameras, great setup. I mean, a lot of equipment around there. I mean, it's just a really, really cool spot to have.
Yeah, a little balcony area, office space. Like that place was dialed. I really liked it. They've got something really cool going on there. But the Adidas event was fun. You know, it's always fun when all the reviewers kind of get together and get to see each other. It just feels like getting to hang out with a bunch of friends. So always nice to catch up with everyone. But yeah, that's about all we can say from the event. So there's Adidas.
Yep.
The next day after the event, we did a video. We're going to have one video on everyone's channel. So we did the podcast hosts versus all of the co-hosts. So we had our podcast, we had Pickleball Pursuits podcast, John Q, and then we had Pickleball Effect. Kyle from Pickleball Effect couldn't make it. He had some stuff going on, so we had Brian Lim from Building Pickleball sub in for Kyle. Dude, this thing was... I knew it was going to be good, but because it was a team format, it was so much better.
It was so much fun. It worked out better than I expected, honestly. It was a very fun, little event we did. The videos are going to be awesome once we get them all edited up. But you take it. What was your thoughts on it?
Yeah. So, like I said, we had all the hosts versus the co-hosts. So my team was me, John, Braden, and Lewis. And then your guys' team was you, Brian, Eddie, and Justin.
Brian from Building Pickleball. Now, keep in mind, he hosts his own podcast, so I think they planted a mole. That was their plan all along. They planted a mole on our team, so just keep that in mind.
That was funny in hindsight. After I can't remember who realized that first, but that was actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then the best part was, so some pros had been playing at the lab while we were setting up the cameras, and so Ryan stayed, Carlos stayed, and Johnson Cola stayed, and so that really added to the chirping from the bench. So we had so many cameras in this room. We had maybe 9 cameras.
Well, and not only just the chirping, which was awesome, but the added slight pressure of oh my gosh, I don't want to embarrass myself in front of these guys. I got to play good. There's just a little bit more pressure to it, you know?
Yeah, there was, which we'll get to, and actually I'll just say it now. There was definitely more pressure. So I kind of managed all the cameras. I knew how I wanted everything configured, and the microphones, we had 8 microphones. So there was just a lot of gear to manage. And since with the Kyle and Braden one that we did in Idaho, where I had actually corrupted all the cards, I was like, cannot let that happen again. So I was a little bit more paranoid. So combine thinking about all the cameras plus just the stimulation of 12 people yelling in a room. All my games were just, I don't know. It was just a lot to think about. It was still amazingly fun, but I just was oh my gosh, there's so much. Actually, for example, the baseline camera, probably one of the most important cameras. I think after my game, or maybe it was during the first game, I was did I ever set focus on that? And I think I had, but I went and redid it, and I was just running all over thinking about cameras.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot to think about. Like you said, 9 cameras, 8 people, just so much going on.
Making sure people didn't accidentally turn their microphone off. They didn't accidentally mute it. And
trying to make sure people are staying in front of cameras, talking. It was a lot to deal with.
One of the things we did is we had 2 benches. So on opposite sides of the room, we had the co-host bench and the host bench. So if you weren't playing, you were kind of in front of that camera so it could catch the chirping.
Yep.
And then we had another bench, which was like John, Ryan, Carlos, Rafa from Pickleball Tech Dude. So yeah. Anyways, it was awesome. I think I kind of created all the matches. So we did one where it was a match where it was the host versus their co-host. So everyone had one of those. And then the other ones were kind of random. So like I said, we did it like MLP.
It was kind of intended to be set up to be more even and not like, all right, we're going to plan out a roster to beat them and do this. It was like,
let's match up dupers.
Let's match up dupers. Let's make it interesting. Because like if we wanted, I'm sure we could have configured teams to make it a blowout.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's just not entertaining.
It's just not entertaining. It's better this way. It's more fun. Everyone had a great time. And the matches were all pretty good.
Yeah, no, I would say everyone had their own little moments of greatness. Like there was some of the chirps, I cannot wait for these to be edited because some of the lines people had were so funny. And it's just, I can't wait. So for anyone listening, whenever these come out, there's going to be one video on each of our channels. So there'll be one on mine, one on John's, one on Braden's, and one on Lewis's. And then there was a Dream Breaker. So that video will end up going on my channel. So they'll kind of be like part 1 through 5, and you get to go and watch all of them throughout all our channels. So yeah, I can't wait for that. In my match, Lewis did end up playing the left. We started with me on the left, and this is kind of where I was going with the overstimulation. Is like during my matches, I think I was so amped up that I was just like, okay, I need to be in a role where I can just like I can turn my brain off.
Yeah.
And being on the left, I was like, my brain cannot turn off. So Lewis got to play the left. That might be the first time he's ever done that.
Yeah. Is that going to be the first video that is posted? Is that one's going to be on your channel?
I got to check which match goes on which. I reconfigured it a while ago, But yeah, I'm not sure exactly which.
That wasn't the match that you and I played, right? Because it was John and you
me
versus
and John.
Eddie and I.
Yes. Yep. So yeah, I can't wait. I do have a very funny story about Eddie.
Oh, yeah.
So
Eddie.
Eddie was kind of the mystery of this whole thing.
The wild card.
Everyone else knew each other. Everyone else had, for the most part, seen each other play.
Or played with each other.
Yeah. Eddie, no one knew.
Yeah.
First of all, Eddie's a little different off camera. He's so toned down on the podcast. He is hilarious in person.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite story was at the Adidas event. We're starting to play some games. And
at the lab first.
At the lab, yeah. I love to lob. It's one of my favorite shots. And Eddie's a little bit shorter, so I was like, I'm going to throw in a couple lobs. I think I hit 2 or 3 like lob winners, or he ran back and
shanked them. If you guys have watched the little content event we did at Worlds when Chris and I played Brian and Braden, and Chris lobbed Brian, he just would never go get the lob. That's how Eddie is. Eddie will just never track down. He hates going to go get lobs, so it makes it even better.
Yeah, so he was, just kind of chirping about the lobs. And then when we get to this Airbnb, which was the second half of the event, there's a ping pong table. And Braden and I are playing ping pong, and Eddie walks up, and I'm just going to say it, we'll bleep it out, but it was so funny. Eddie walks up and says something along the lines of, you going to do those bitch-ass lobs here too? I was like, whoa, I didn't know Eddie had that in him. I was like, what is this?
Dude, I heard that from the background, and I was laughing so hard. I was like, did Eddie just say that?
So yeah, Eddie was awesome. I love that guy.
Eddie's great. I got to chat with him a bunch, and we're very similar people and have very similar interests, and we connected super well. I'd love to see more of Eddie at these events. He was great.
Yeah, come on, Eddie. Let's get you out to some more events. Don't let John just keep you in the dungeon.
Yeah.
Don't let him keep you there. Okay, so that was kind of the host versus co-host. Can't wait for that to come out. Then we had extended our trip we stayed in Austin for a week. So there was a few things. We went and filmed a podcast with a professional court builder. Since I'm finishing mine up and I learned a lot from this guy's Facebook group, I thought it would be fun to put together a video for anyone who wants to build a court, because there's a lot of bad information out there and it's a lot of money to build a court. So the thought was, let's get all the proper information in one place, and people kind of have a go-to place to go, okay, this is where you can learn the info. So that was fun. Then there were 2 tournaments we stayed for. So there was one at Eastside Paddle Club, an open division tournament that I played in with Jeff Leigh, and then Paul Lee, Eolop on YouTube, who a lot of you may not know. If you don't know, you should go watch his content because he makes some really good gameplay videos. It's very funny. So he hosted like a Creator Cup singles tournament, 8-person round robin. We'll get to that in a minute. We'll start with the Open Division tournament. So I played with Jeff Leigh, guy from Austin. I've known him for a while. I played with the Carbon 2 Genesis, for anyone curious, and got completely rocked.
Yeah. But Jeff's a great player, but yeah, y'all got handed.
Yeah, and I think we both knew going in that's how it was going to be, because so this tournament, and I like how they did this, but I do think that they probably should have reconfigured the duper caps a little bit. So they had a combined duper cap for all the divisions based on your team's combined total duper. So if you wanted to play in the 4-5 event, which is what we wanted to do and would have made the most sense, you couldn't go over 9 for duper. So if you were both 4-5-5, you had to play the Open Division tournament. And him and I were like 4-6-4 and 4-7-1 or something. So we were over by, like 0.3. So that's why we ended up playing the Open Division. And dude, every single match we played, teams of 5-4, 5-3. I think the lowest duper I saw on one team was a 4-0, and I don't even think that was accurate. That guy actually was a very solid player. But everything else was a pair of 5-2s, 5-3s, a 5-4, and a 5-1.
I mean, a lot of these guys are good. I mean, I knew at least 3 of the teams or have played against them in qualifiers. Yeah. And so these are all quali to low, like, first round pros.
Yeah.
And they're all very good players.
And it was a money ball.
So it's like there's something you want to win.
Yeah. So I didn't have any illusion going in that this was going to be, at best, I thought, maybe we win a game or two. Unfortunately, 0-4. It was not the world's best showing. But what was wild is I kept telling Jeff this, and it'll be interesting to watch back some of the footage. Outside of our very first game, which I think I forgot to film, the games didn't feel bad. Like, I didn't think we were losing because we were just missing really stupid stuff. Sure, there's ones here and there, you miss a drop or whatever. But there were a lot of times where we'd be in a great hands battle or a good dink rally, and then we would have an advantage in a hands battle, and then these guys would just dig their way back out and then hit a great speed up or counter and win the point. So I felt like people were having to earn their wins, but everyone was just better. I mean, pretty much every team we play them 10 times, 9 out of 10 times they win.
Yeah.
So
I'd agree.
Yeah.
They're all very, very strong players.
Yeah. So that was a bummer that we couldn't do a slightly lower division, especially because Paul was in the 4-5 division.
It would have been so perfect.
Exactly.
It would have been so perfect.
Would have loved to play against Paul. I think that would have been awesome.
Yeah. Also, for those of you wondering, I did not play in it because I just didn't want to take the money from the Austin local. I felt bad. No, I'm just kidding. I decided not to because I figured I would film you while you were playing, and then also I'm not a huge fan of the whole random partner thing last second, and I wasn't sure who I'd get paired up with. I'm sure I would have gotten a great player, but just not a huge fan of doing that type of stuff last second, so I ended up not playing. But I think I would have done quite well in this event.
Yeah, so. For sure. But just on the combined duper thing a little bit more, so that I feel like maybe the cap should have been 9.2, 9.3 for the 4-5 division, somewhere around there. Because when you really think about it, you've got teams like me and Jeff who are about a 9.33 combined duper, and then you've got teams that are basically 11. I mean, that's a big skill gap.
That's a big difference. To be fair, Jeff's duper is definitely lower than what it should be.
Sure.
Jeff's probably closer to like a true, like right at 5.0, maybe a little better. But yeah, it's still is a massive gap.
Yeah. So
when you've got 2 5.5s.
Something to think about for these tournaments.
I mean, I think the highest duper in that division was 5.8, 5.9.
Yeah.
So, you've got basically 6.0, some 6.0 level players. I mean, Austin Bricker and Jason Lloyd, Michael Lloyd's brother, were playing together. Shockingly, they got upset and did not make it to the finals. I had them for sure, at least in the finals. But that just shows how good the competition was there. Very, very good players.
So the team that won it, we had actually gotten to meet them like the night before or a couple nights before. We played some rec games, and one of the guys on the team has only been playing for 6 months. The other guy hasn't played a tournament in over a year. So his duper was 4.2. They had like one of the bottom seeds. They were maybe second to last. 13th. And yeah, 13th out of 16. And by the end of the tournament, so they won. And
I've never seen a bigger duper jump in one tournament.
Whole point.
Over a whole point. It went from 4.2 to 5.3 in one event.
Insane.
I think they only lost one game the whole turn. No, either one or two games. That was it. Because they might have lost one in pool play, and then they took it to 3 in the finals.
Yeah.
Crazy. Great, insane players. Very, very good.
Yeah, extremely good. I was joking with Paul. I won't spoil any of his results in case he wants to make a video. However, we were both joking that after this tournament, or I was more so joking with mine. I said, I might have to rename this Chasing 5-0 series to Avoiding 4-0 because my duper just keeps on dropping. I think it's sitting at a 4.54 now. So,
but still higher than Paul's.
Still higher than Paul's.
That's all that matters.
I am still higher than Paul.
Got to stay above Paul.
Yes.
Even if you're dropping, as long as you stay above Paul.
That's right. Okay, let's talk about the Creator Cup that Paul put on. So,
yeah.
What's funny about this is when he mentioned it to me, he said, we're going to do like 8 people. I was thinking, and it was all people we kind of knew. So I was thinking, this is just going to be, we're going to rent 2 courts at a facility. It's going to be a small round robin. Like, we're all just hanging out, having a good time. Super chill. I wasn't even thinking about taking this that serious.
Like it was an actual event. It was just like, kind of like a fun open play with friends and just make it a tournament.
Exactly. Then we get there and I see he has like this event page and he's telling people, hey, you can come RSVP to watch. And I see there's over 100 people RSVP'd to come watch this thing. And I'm sitting there going, wait a minute. This is an 8-person round robin. In Minnesota, you couldn't pay 100 people to come watch singles. So I was just shocked that he managed to do that. But then the event, he had a DJ, he had a food truck. The courts we were at were awesome.
Got sponsors
for the whole thing. I mean, it was awesome. It was a great event. He did an awesome job, especially that's his first time hosting an event, I believe. He knocked it out of the park. He had these awesome medals, super heavy.
Yeah.
I think he said each medal was like $50 or $60.
Jeez.
So not your classic like $5 cheapo medal. Like they were legit.
No, it was nice. It was nice.
But it was fun. So it was me, you, Jeff. Michael Lloyd played in it, but Michael Lloyd played left-handed.
It was Lykel Moyd.
Yeah, Lykel Moyd, left-handed. There was a guy named Alec Blair, a girl named Lauren, another guy named Alex Moe, I believe.
Yep.
And then who am I missing? I'm missing
Philip Vu.
Yep. He had flown in from Vietnam. So it was a very fun event. I don't play singles often these days, but it was still, I like it.
Yeah.
And so basically how they did it was 2 pools of 4, and top 2 advanced out. And my pool, I had Alec Blair, who's like a 5'2" or 5'3".
Yep.
Very good player.
Quality level player.
Yeah. And then I had Michael Lloyd, and then I had Lauren. So basically you had to win at least 2 games if you wanted to make it out. I knew I was losing to Alec just based on duper. It's like, that's going to be a wash. It was 10-15. Better than I thought. He did screw around a little bit. So that's probably why I got 10. He could make that a lot worse if he wanted to.
Oh, I'm sure.
Michael, man, he's good left-handed. He's legit.
He's a solid lefty.
Yeah, he's probably about a 4.75 left-handed. He's good.
I don't know about that high.
I think he's probably that high.
Okay.
Yeah, he was legit. I mean, even just watching him play Jeff, and
still very good lefty.
He doesn't mess. He did have a 2-handed backhand. I think he should have had to use a 1-handed backhand.
Kind of cheating a little bit,
A little bit. But yeah, it was my match against him ended 13-15. Was a bummer to lose to a guy playing left-handed. Feels a little embarrassing if I'm going to be honest. But he was good. So 13-15 to him, 10-15 to Alec. And then when I played Lauren, I won that one 15-13.
Close though.
Yeah, she's a very good player. She has very good passing shots, very good drive. She's very quick on her feet. So I didn't end up making it through pool.
Keep in mind, it was like 85 plus degrees.
It was hot.
No, it was kind of windy and just no shade. So sunny. It was so hot. To be playing singles was horrible conditions.
Alec actually ended up getting sick.
Yeah, he ended up getting dehydrated by the end of the event.
He was supposed to play in the gold.
Yeah,
and he had to pull out
against me.
Yeah, so Isaac made it to the gold.
So my pool had Philip, Alex, Mo, and Jeff, and I played Philip first, and actually had 14-0 on him.
Poor guy.
And then ended 15-4. Then I played Alex Moe. I beat him 15-10, I want to say. So that one was a bit closer. And then I played Jeff for my last pool play game and then actually lost 15-10, which was a good thing. Because then when we all went to bracket play, if I had won, I would have had to play Alec Blair next. But instead, I got to play Michael. And it was supposed to be 2 out of 3 to 11. Because things were running a little slower, we switched it for the semis to be 1 game to 15, which Michael was not a fan of. He would have much rather had the longer format. And I'm sorry, Michael, but I smoked you.
Michael did get rocked.
Absolutely rocked him. So we have clips. I'll put some clips of the match in, but I beat him 15-3 or 15-4.
Yeah,
and it was he got smoked.
That was a bloodbath.
Yeah, he was not having it. So Paul made a little Instagram group chat with everybody. And so then it was like, I didn't really know who was all going to be in it till this group chat was made. And then I was getting to see who was in there. And then when I talked to Michael the day before, he was like, yeah, Paul told me that there was just going to be some like 4-0, maybe 4 or 5 content creators. So yeah, play left-handed. It'll be fine. It'll be fun and competitive. Then Paul made this group chat and I see Alec and you are in there and I was just giving you pro quality advice the other week. And so he was not a huge fan of having to play left-handed. But yeah, here's the thing. Either he plays left-handed and I rock him, or he plays righty and rocks everyone.
Yeah.
So I think this was the better turnout.
Yes.
And so then made it to the finals. Alec Blair beats Jeff in the other semi. And then unfortunately he got sick and wasn't able to play. So we just made Paul jump in and play his own final. And so that was fun.
Yeah, Paul didn't play in his own tournament, for those curious. He was trying to run the event.
Kind of manage it, film things, do interviews with people. He did a very good job of that. I think once he kind of makes the whole video for it, it'll be a very good video. So keep an eye out for that. But it was fun. Got to play him. And then it was 11-3, 11-8. So it was a fun little final. And, oh, man, my back is killing me. This thing. Oh, yeah. Nice. Shiny gold medal right here.
For those of you who are listening, he had his medal under his shirt. I did not know he had that on him.
Had to keep this thing on me. I wore this thing to dinner the night we played.
That's so funny.
So yeah, super fun event. It was great. Had a great time. I think we kind of talked about, I'm sure he's going to do another one in the future. So hopefully, each year just gets bigger and better and I can defend my singles title.
Yes. So yeah, knocked it out of the park. Creator Cup was super fun. Glad we stayed for that. Before I move on to some paddle stuff, I do just want to mention quickly, we'll probably do more of a deep dive on this later in the future, but I did get to meet with the team from Fluid Pickleball. They run a tournament website. It's FluidPB.com. It's basically an alternative to pickleball brackets, pickleball tournaments. They gave me this whole rundown of the software, and I wasn't really sure what to expect going in. Pickleball brackets, I think these days has gotten a lot better than it used to be compared to 4 years ago when it was tournaments, and it was just awful signing up. I think most of those kinks are worked out. There's still some things I don't really like. But this tournament software is seriously impressive. Like, if you are a tournament organizer, you guys should check this out. One, I don't believe there's any fees for the tournament organizer. I believe brackets take some amount of money for each person that signs up for the tournament. And the software itself, I was going through it last night, extremely easy to use and a lot of awesome features for tournament organizers. One in particular that I loved that they showed is a way to just eliminate paper from your tournaments. So they have, I think it's called kiosk mode, and basically you can set up an iPad and you can set it at your tournament desk, and instead of people having these pieces of paper or whatever, they can come back to the iPad and punch in the game. They say what court they were on, court 1, 2, 3, however many courts you have. They punch that, and then they enter the score. It enters. It goes straight into Duper immediately. There's no waiting for after the event. And then, the whole thing is awesome. I mean,
extremely intuitive, very simple. And, used it for Paul's event, used it for the money ball that you played in, and worked like a charm. Had zero issues, no problems. Like, everything ran so smooth.
Yeah. I'm really impressed. In fact, it makes me want to run just some small money ball events here just so I can kind of mess with it and try it some more. But seriously, if you're a tournament organizer or you know people who are, you should have them check this out. And I believe you can even set up demos with the team and then kind of walk you through how to use it. But a lot of features as they walk through, I just went, oh, that is awesome.
I mean, as they were showing you, we went out and got lunch and you talked to them for a while. It was like you just figured out how to do it on your own without them having to say anything. So it's very simple, unlike tournaments or brackets now. It's just so much better. Yeah. It's the best. I think it's the best software that we have in pickleball right now. And I think it's also trying to be like a replacement for court reserve.
Yeah, they're building in some like club features so they can kind of be court reserve tournaments. Like there's a lot of compelling features.
Which is another software that I hate. Court reserve is not good.
Yeah, it's not the greatest. It's a very outdated UI.
So keep an eye out for Fluid, or if you're a tournament organizer, reach out to them, look into it, because very impressive. Great software, which is something that we've all been begging for a very long time in pickleball. So very happy to finally see something that's actually working well and smooth.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's dive into some paddle stuff. A lot of this is just going to be more so on my end because I'm the one that's hit most of these in recent time, but I thought it was worth talking about. So real quick, Diadem did hear all the talk about the edge guards, and they did send out an email that said they found a solution. So basically, if you guys didn't hear one of the last podcasts, the Diadem BlueCores weighted tape wasn't sticking to the edge guard, and we did try this, and ours kept peeling up. And they said when it's mass produced, they found a solution, won't have that issue anymore. So that's awesome because that would have been really annoying.
Yeah. Oh, super. Yeah.
And then
because we tried everything, because people were saying, oh, like wipe it down, clean it.
Oh, just had a light die.
The light died. Oh,
Whoops.
All right.
All right.
Wipe it, clean it, do all this stuff. Nothing worked for ours. It still wasn't sticking, wasn't great. So I'm glad to hear they got on that pretty quick and took care of it. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, that was great. And then the other thing is, I actually didn't know this. There was nothing in my notes, but I heard people talk about it. The butt cap on these actually has a removable door. You can stick like a small flathead screwdriver and pry it out. And then you can actually put weighted tape inside of this. And I love that they did this because you can put some like weighted tungsten putty or probably some other things in here to shift the balance point down. So now you don't need to use a slice cap. You don't need to buy a coin. It's very easy to take this on and off. Again, it's a screwdriver. So would love for more companies to do this.
That's a really cool concept. I like that idea a lot. Haven't seen anyone else do that I know of.
Yeah. And the only other one was grip, but they did weighted.
But the actual like cap itself was the weight.
Exactly.
Instead of having a removable cap that you can then install your whatever type of weight you want or whatever you have. So you don't necessarily have to buy a separate product that only works for this.
Yeah. So I love that. Think that's really cool. Hope more companies do that. Next up, we've got the 10mm 008. So I had took this out last week and kind of messed around with it when I was with a buddy. And I think out of the 008s that I've hit, this one is my favorite one for sure. The 16 didn't do a whole lot for me. The 13, even with weight, still felt pretty meh, at least compared to a carbon true foam. The 10mm I think has things that are more appealing, but it is definitely a harder paddle to use. I mean, even just dinking with it, not even because it's so poppy or powerful. I do think it is both of those things, but the stability is just awful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this thing could use a lot of weight. I didn't get the chance to put weight on it, so there's a very good chance that weight would clean this paddle up. And thankfully, the swing weight stock on it is so low. I think it's under 110. Super easy to modify. I mean, this paddle feels quick in the hand. Like I like where it's at that way. That's a big advantage, I think, over the true foams and something that people will appreciate. So as far as the power paddle goes, I think this does a pretty good job. I'd probably still give the edge to something like the Yola Pro 4, especially if we're talking just sweet spot size. Like overall power paddle, I think something like the Yola Pro 4 is still better. But I think for Selkirk's line, this is up there. I just think that stability is going to kill a lot of people.
Stability, small sweet spot. Like that's a recipe for either a frustrating paddle or just difficult paddle to play with.
Poppy paddle, small sweet spot, that's tough. Yeah, that's tough.
But if you're someone who's not worried about that and that, fits your description, there's not that many options for thin, light poppy paddle.
Yeah, so I think this is up there, but I would have to hit it more and try it with weight, but I'm still a little bit like, I'd probably recommend other options before this, but I think there are, some things that are appealing about it. And then also, one thing with the foam core paddles, we've had the True Foam and this, and then, the BlueCores are upcoming. And it's been interesting how different these 008s play from the True Foam. To me, the True Foams feel way better off the face and feel poppier, more powerful. They do play quite a bit better with weight. And the only thing that I am aware of that's massively different are the cutouts inside the core, and then also the fiberglass patch that the carbon has. Now, maybe there's different foam densities inside of 008. Obviously, this is a 10mm. But comparing the 13 008 to the carbon True Foam, I take a True Foam all day.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
100%.
So I'm just curious why they feel so drastically different, whether that's foam density or the fiberglass or what it is. But
I'm sure foam density is probably part of it, but I mean, the only other thing that I can think of is the cutout is changing the feel a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I hit this very shortly, and I feel pretty much the exact same, where it's just very difficult to play with, small sweet spot. The stability is what really killed me. And then because it's so light, for me personally, I would have to add a ton of weight to get it to a decent place with, swing weight and plow through. Yeah. So it's not one for me, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So that's just a little quick look at the 008. So I forgot to mention this while we were recording the podcast, but there was an image of Kyle Yates using a paddle tech that appears to be a hybrid. There's no specs confirmed if it actually is one. There's no release date. This image only came out a few days ago, but I did think that was interesting, and it would be awesome if paddle tech made a Bantam in a hybrid shape. Just something to bridge the gap between their wide body and their elongated. So when we have more information, we'll make sure to share it with you guys. And then this week, I had the Saga Flash short handle. This is the one that was recently approved by USAP, and then all of the other shapes, the Bloom, the V7, and all the other handle lengths are in approval right now, so we're kind of waiting on those. But I did play with the short handle quite a bit in Texas, and these 14mm from Vatic, in my opinion, some of their best paddles that they've made to date. I'm really impressed with them. I do think, like most paddles these days, it's a 14mm. It's not and it's light out of the box. They're not very stable. Highly recommend weight. Like, even with weight, there were times where I'd hit near the edge and I was like, oof, like that did not feel good. So do be warned that compared to the 16, which pretty generous, sweet spot, pretty forgiving, I think the 14's kind of missed there. But the static weight out of the box is about 7.7 to 7.8 ounces. The swing weights, I'll read them for you really quick. The Flash SH is 109. The Flash LH is 113. The V7 LH is 117. The V7 SH is 112. And then the Bloom is 105. So all those swing weight ranges, highly, highly, highly appealing on paper. Plenty of room if you want to add weight without it getting out of hand. When I did weight, I probably did, 8 to 9 inches starting from the throat up about halfway up the side, and I did half gram, and I think that was a pretty solid setup. I actually ended up playing the Creator Cup with the Vatic.
Yeah.
And I liked it. So those are the specs there. So yeah, in terms of cons, definitely lacks stability. Would recommend weight. I wouldn't really call this a con, but for some people compared to the 16 it will be. It's noticeably stiffer. It's not nearly as plush feeling as the 16, but that's to be expected. And I think because of that, you're gonna gain extra pop. So in the pros, light out of the box, lower swing weights, and it's poppy, but it's not so over the top. Like, it's not a Pro 4 poppy. It's not probably even a Paddle Tech poppy, but it's enough to be aggressive and not get yourself in so much trouble. So I think it's in a really nice spot. When I said in my review that I really wanted them to do a 14mm, this paddle is pretty much what I dreamt it would be. Maybe I imagined it would have a bigger sweet spot, but you can't have it all, right?
Yeah.
So I think these are really good paddles. I think they're worth looking into. And Vatic did say that they're dropping the price on the Saga to $129.99. So after a code, it's $120, which is awesome. However, I believe that was before tariffs. It kind of got crazy.
Things could change. Just keep that in mind.
I think everything pricing related in pickleball, we're not going to get into it here. We're not going to do a deep analysis on tariffs, but there's a chance it's going to change the paddle. If things stay the way they are going right now, there's a chance you're going to start seeing some paddle prices go up. So who knows if this stays at $129.99, but last I heard, that's what the plan was. Yep. So I haven't hit all the other shapes. I've hit the Bloom a little bit, and I did really like that. That'd probably be my favorite one. So if you guys were interested, I think this is an awesome paddle. I'm looking forward to spending more time with this. If they come out this week, I'm not sure. I might even try and wrap my review up a little bit, at least on the Flash SH. So yeah, definitely. Also, I don't play stock grips very often, but Vatic is actually pretty decent. I played the entire time in Texas without putting an overgrip on.
Oh, wow.
Just completely stock, and like I never had issues, and it was hot. I mean, I was sweating plenty in Texas.
Yeah.
So stock overgrip actually is not too bad on this.
There's a couple companies that have pretty decent stock grips. I do like Vatics. I probably still, because I'm picky, would still put an overgrip on it, but yeah, they're not bad. Yeah. I do also like the Saga 14s more than I would have expected for considering what my typical paddle looks like. I mean, I would probably still pick the 16 over the 14, but the 14s did feel nice. And shockingly, the Bloom I did not hate it.
It was nice. The Bloom's nice.
For it being a wide body paddle, it wasn't the worst. But would I use it in a tournament? Absolutely not. But for wide bodies out there right now, and especially 14, that's probably my favorite. Like, I think it's a very good paddle.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I have a feeling if that one gets approved, which we're gonna get to why, like, I'm a little worried it might not in a second, that paddle's gonna be awesome. I think that will probably be the best selling in the 14 line, would be my guess.
Yeah.
But anyways, PB Core. So we haven't talked about this in a minute, but the Saga Flash 14mm SH got approved, but it has a PB Core of 0.44. Now, why this matters is because the limit in the future is capped at 0.43. That's why you keep seeing all these paddles that on the paddle say PB Core 0.43 certified, because USAP wants to drop it down to that. So they're allowing, this is kind of the silly part of this to me, they're allowing paddles to be approved at 0.44 right now, but next year, or is it this year? Actually, it might be this year. The limit drops to 0.43, and then those paddles will have until May of 2026 until they get sunset. So technically, this Vatic paddle is good for about a year from right now, which if you're buying it, like, there's a good chance you're replacing it within a year anyways. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. But if this one's right at the limit, it makes me wonder what the other shapes are going to come in at.
Yeah.
Like, they might be slightly over and not get approved. Ideally, they're less, but hard to say.
I mean, it just doesn't really make sense to me. If you're a company, I get it. Like, you want to sell a bunch of them now, and maybe you're not too concerned about dealing with customers wanting to return it or, like, dealing with angry customers. Why would you approve a paddle that's over and then have to sunset it later?
Yeah. I mean,
I just feel like that'd be a mistake.
Part of the problem I feel, too, is I don't understand why USAP decided to allow, if they knew the limit next year was going to be 0.43, all paddle submissions from when that rule went into play should have said it has to be under 0.43 now, and then anything else got grandfathered in. That was already approved. Let's just say there was another power paddle at 0.44. Okay, cool. You're grandfathered till next year. But anything you submit now, because why go through a second delisting? We already got rid of like Mod, Black Ace, paddles that were over 0.44. There's probably paddles right now, because a lot of companies still aren't sharing their PB Core number. I bet there's paddles right now that are at 0.44, and companies aren't saying anything because they don't want people to stop buying them. And then next year, they're going to be gone again.
Yep.
We should have only had to do this wave like once. And it's confusing to me that we're going to do it twice.
I agree.
So I find that odd. So I'm hoping the other shapes aren't going to be problematic. But like I said, this will be good for a year if you do want to use it. And it's also a great example of, we've said this a lot of times, I've talked with manufacturers about this, but if you're a consumer, that PB Core number, in my opinion, should mean nothing to you. You should never buy a paddle, because if you want a power paddle, you should never buy it just because it has a high PB Core number. Because that Saga right there at 0.44, I promise you, does not hit as hard as a Yola Pro 4, which is allegedly under 0.43 or right at 0.43.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, that wasn't helpful.
The number does not directly correlate to power.
speed on court at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Like your playing experience, if you go, oh, I have, and I've already seen some companies go like, oh, we have the most powerful legal paddle via the standards. It's just
ignore all of that.
It doesn't translate. So yeah, that's a little bit disappointing, or not really. It's just confusing from USAP, I guess, is really more what it is. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that's kind of all I had for paddles. There's a lot of paddles that, will be coming up. We'll talk about the Adidas paddles when we're allowed to talk about those. And then there's some other stuff coming up, but that's what we have for this week. So in the kitchen, we've got some questions this week. And we also wanted to talk about the Anna Leigh Waters and the Catherine Parento breakup.
Was not expecting that.
That happened like while we were in Texas or right as we left. Boom, right out of left field. Did not, no one saw that.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah, I saw a post on Instagram from Catherine. I was like, oh, what's this? And it was just like, oh, man, thank you for playing with me. Anna Leigh had such a great time. And I was like, you're not saying you're not playing together, but it really makes it look like it. And then sure enough, literally the next thing I see, confirmed they're not playing together. They're done. And then there was a bunch of kind of rumors of what happened. Like, oh, it was planned out. They knew that they weren't going to play together. And then later it came out that, nope, it was just out of the blue phone call. Anna Leigh called Catherine and said, yep, we're done.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me.
I would love to, know more of the behind the scenes of that. Why was the decision made so quickly? I know, they've lost some tournaments recently to different pairings or whatever. So maybe that was it. Maybe with, it sounds like I haven't followed this too closely yet, but I've started to hear that the prize money is going to become more of a thing in pro pickleball. So the guaranteed contracts are kind of going to go away or at least be a lot lower. And then prize money is kind of what they're shifting back towards, which is what it used to be. So maybe the thought was, okay, Anna Leigh wants to obviously continue to win, even though she was winning like everything with Catherine anyways. Maybe she thought her odds were better with Anna Bright and wanted to move on. But whatever it was, it just felt so random. It sounds like it was plenty random to Catherine too. So I'd love to know the exact reasons.
Well, yeah. And let's get into that. So you said Anna Bright. That's who she was playing with. I was trying to, because it didn't come out until later that she was playing with Anna Bright. And I was kind of trying to figure out who she's going to play with. Maybe Tyra Black, maybe, Georgia. That's it. And so I was like, trying to figure it out. And AB was like the obvious pick. But I feel like it's been talked about plenty where Rachel and her play great together. You're beating Catherine and Anna Leigh. Why, if you're the clear number 2 and they're breaking up, why separate? Like, you're already winning. I get it. If someone reaches out that's clearly the best in the world, has an insane win record, why split up? It just seems a little odd that she would break that up, especially now, trying to start a business together, selling all their merch and stuff. Just seems a little odd to me, or kind of like a punch to the throat. Yeah,
I did think from a branding perspective, I feel like I was disappointed in that, seeing them create that brand and kind of, on court, they have this whole thing and they were winning. I think it was disappointing to see that partnership split up. And I've seen a lot of people be upset. People are saying it kind of dramatically, why would you sell out and play with Anna Leigh? But again, if we're talking about that prize money, if that is where it's going to go, and that your salary is about to drop, your income is about to drop substantially because it's not guaranteed anymore, and the only way you're earning a living is by winning again. If I'm Anna Bright, I'm probably taking that deal all day long.
Definitely the smart choice, for sure.
If you want to win consistently, that's, in my opinion, the smart choice.
Yeah.
Is it disappointing from a fan perspective and a rivalry perspective? Absolutely no doubt. But if your goal is to win, which is what these competitors are trying to do, I would play with Anna Leigh too.
100%. I totally agree, and I totally understand. It is just a touch disappointing.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, I would have loved to see them keep going, and, memes of pickleball. Gosh.
That post, if you guys don't know, go to memes of pickleball. They talked about, now that this rivalry isn't really a thing in pickleball, they talked about the other best rivalries in pickleball. Man, that's one of the funniest posts I've ever seen.
Dude, I mean, that one was hilarious. That wasn't even the one I was thinking of, though.
Oh.
I was thinking of the one, Like
I know which one you're talking about now. Yes.
they made this post that they took from like one of the merch drops that Anna Bright and Rachel did, and it was like the second drop coming in like April or something. And then the second slide was Rachel didn't know that she was the drop. And I was like, oh,
that hurts.
that hurts. But they never miss.
Yeah. I wonder how funny it would be if it's now Annalie and Anna Bright versus Rachel and Catherine.
That'd be crazy. And imagine if Catherine and Rachel started winning.
That would be wild. Oh my gosh, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah. So
It'd
if you guys haven't seen, go check out Memes with Pickleball.
Yeah, definitely. It's some of the funniest things I've ever seen.
But
so yeah, that's gonna be very interesting. I'm very excited to see how that pairing works out.
And I think it's really, going back to the whole branding thing, it's going to be really interesting because I feel like anyone that plays with Annalie, you will always get the blame if you lost. Because it can't be Annalie, right? She's #1 player in the world. So you're always going to take the blame if you lose. And if you win, it's Annalie still gets all the credit because she's Annalie, understandably so. So at least with Rachel, you had this whole like thing you were building up together. And she, I would say Anna Bright was probably viewed as more of the superstar with their pairing. So now you're in the shadow a little bit. Maybe it doesn't matter because you're winning and you're getting your money. But that's the part where I'm like, it would be so tough.
Yeah.
It's like you could build an amazing brand or you could win all the time.
So put yourself in their shoes on both sides. If you're Annalie and you've lost a few matches, are you going to drop Catherine or are you going to stay as her partner? Well, in Annalie's position, what would you do?
I mean, looking at the stats, I would think you guys stay together. That's why I wonder what else behind the scenes was the thought.
Could have happened.
Yeah.
And then if you're Anna Bright and Annalie reaches out, what do you say?
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm probably leaving.
Dang, this guy doesn't want to keep friends.
It all depends.
Burn bridges, baby.
Well, ideally not burning bridges. And who knows what the conversations were between Anna Bright and Rachel. Who knows if that was an overnight thing, if they got to talk a little bit. No idea. But hopefully that was done in a way that didn't burn bridges. But it was very unclear.
Easily could have, though.
Yeah. So for sure could have.
Guess we'll see.
Yeah, that's the Annalie and Catherine breakup. And then we just had a few questions we put out on Instagram and wanted to go over. We got 4 of them here. So first, any thoughts on the new Yola shapes? We don't have them yet, but I did reach out to Yola to ask about getting them. So hopefully in the next couple weeks, we'll have some thoughts for you guys about how those paddles play. But right now, I don't have any thoughts for you. But I am looking forward to the Scorpius. I think that one will be a pretty big hit.
Yeah.
Second question was, Vapor Power weight setup ideas. They didn't like how it played stock. Personally, I thought it played really well stock. Obviously, different people need different things. He didn't specify what he didn't like. My only thought, if he didn't like it stock, would probably be putting weight at 3 and 9, or maybe all 4 corners and doing smaller strips if you wanted more stability and more power, more plow through. But other than that, like I probably wouldn't concentrate the weight low, would be my thing, because I think it's already a fairly stable paddle. So you're probably looking for more plow through and power would be my thought.
Yeah, it's kind of what I did. I mean, I did still put weight lower at the throat with it, but it's still slow or fast enough in the hands, low swing weight, that I added weight up at the top corners and at the center of the top. And that, for me, that actually changed the paddle quite a bit. I liked it a lot more with weight up near the head. I know everyone talks about, don't increase swing weight too much, or it's not great putting weight up at the head. I think that paddle, it helped it quite a bit. So if you haven't tried putting weight up at the head, give that a shot. I actually think that's a big plus for that paddle.
Yeah, and just experiment, right? I mean, tape is reasonably cheap. Just mess around and see what works. There's no one size fits all. What works for me doesn't work for you. It might be a good starting point, but it's not guaranteed that it'll be great for you.
Yeah.
Next question. Are elongated and hybrid paddles better for singles? I assume they mean in contrast to a wide body. And I would say definitively yes. As much as even hybrids in this case, as much as I love wide bodies, as much as I love hybrid, for singles, the benefits of those shapes, hybrids kind of in the middle, can be either or. I used a hybrid in a singles tournament just recently, but I purposely used the Vatic because I wanted the extra reach, because you don't need the stability in singles. The extra reach is great for on the run to grab a ball that is probably hit way away from you. And I don't think that them elongated paddles being heavier matters as much in singles. It's all ground strokes. You're barely at the net.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you are at the net, it's a swinging volley.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, obviously I'm elongated till the day I die, so I'm definitely going to agree with that. Especially for singles. I think there will never be a day that elongated is not the right paddle for singles. It's just always going to be better. You have more plow through, more power on drives. Like I said, you don't really need super fast hands. Like at the pro level, you see some hands battles, but more just need lateral movement, and reach is so important for singles. Like an inch can make or break a point.
Yeah.
So elongated for sure for singles. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's also another reason why with a lot of pros, especially if they play singles, that you're probably never going to see them, and I don't want to say never, but unlikely that you will see a lot of them, current pros, switch to wide body unless they just don't play singles at all. Because I think if you're going to play both events, you're probably just going to stick with elongated so that you're still used to it for singles. I don't think you really want to change shapes all that often. So if we start seeing pros that play singles less, and we have pros coming up that are newer in the sport and not our ones that are well established, you might see them change up the shapes a bit. But if they play both, I think there's no reason not to use them.
I mean, think about it this way. Fed used to use a Scorpius, and he was a nobody. Nobody knew about him. He didn't win nothing. Oh, he used a Perseus and elongated paddle. Boom, #1 in the world, baby. That's all the proof I need.
Well, he used the Anna Bright when it was a Gen 2, not a Gen 3. Then he got a Gen 3, and he went bananas.
I'm just saying, still elongated.
All right, the last question we had in here is, do you think a 5.25-inch handle is quicker to the ball than 5.5? And I think this is less about handle length, and it's more about the swing weight of your paddle. You could have a paddle with a 5.25-inch handle that's elongated with a 130 swing weight, and you could have a 5.5-inch handle wide body with a swing weight of 105. So it's less about the handle length and more about the paddle shape and the swing weight of that paddle.
Yeah, I think swing weight takes over in this category completely. Like you could have a 5-inch handle, wide body or standard, super short paddle, and it has a 140, let's just exaggerate a little, 140 swing weight. That's going to be a lot slower than a 120, 5.5, or even 5.75-inch handle, elongated paddle. Still going to be faster. Swing weight is what matters here. Handle length doesn't really change it. It might change the feel of how it swings, like a Magnus versus a Perseus. The feel of it is a little different, but like leverage-wise, but swing weight is what at the end will determine how fast it feels in the hand or what is actually quicker.
Yeah, completely agree. So I'd look into swing weight more than I would the handle length. You know, there are reasons to consider handle length. Obviously, do you use it two-handed? Do you not use it two-handed? And I do think that longer handles can be more difficult. Like I think a lot of people would have a little bit more control with a slightly shorter handle. While I was in Texas, played with just choking up slightly with my dominant hand, kind of like a Hayden Patrick Quinn or even Fed. They go up a little bit higher on the handle instead of hanging their hand off. And I liked how that felt. I felt, especially at the kitchen line, I think just with the wrist hinging less and with the longer handle, I just felt like I had more control. There were other drawbacks. I felt like I didn't have as much wrist snap. So it's all pros and cons, but I do feel, and even for a long time, I remember, I think all the way back to my CX11 review, I remember saying, Gearbox CX11, I said something to the effect of, yeah, the shorter handle, I just felt like I had way more control over how I played the paddle. And I still think that holds true. I'm just more used to long handles than I am not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much everything. It was a fun time in Texas. Looking forward to being back. We have the U.S. Open in like a week and a half.
Yeah.
So we'll be on the road again here shortly. But yeah, can't wait to give you guys some more updates on paddles, and we'll catch you next week.
All right. Catch you later, guys.
Yep. Peace.